remember a time period of my early life when I might be teenager or even earlier than that. One day I was like so caught up to catch my own shadow that I really wanted to catch my shadow. And the more I try to catch, every time I go forward, the shadow even goes further. And it really frustrated me and kind of upsets me. And mother kept calling me to come in because it was a hot summery day. And I said, I'm not going to come until I catch this shadow. And it didn't work. Then one man somehow came and said, okay, so you want to catch this shadow? It's very easy. And this is very important to hear the answer that he gave. Just take your hand and hold the top of your head and see you caught the shadow. Look at the shadow, you caught it. And to me, this is our initiation. When instead of searching outside, when we keep looking outside, when we keep thinking that outside will make me happy, when we still think that this is the job that is going to make me happy, when we still think this is the situation that will make me happy, this is the person that will make me happy, or whatever, you can fill the blank. If your mind is still going that the happiness is outside, you have not initiated on this path. You are still a beggar. What is the definition of a beggar? Definition of a beggar that he demands from others. His happiness comes from outside. It depends upon others. And have you ever really witnessed a life of a beggar? When we are demanding, when we are asking, even to God, we have become so beggar that our heart has squeezed. The soul has been disempowered. And have you ever seen when you start giving, what happens? The soul is empowered and heart expands. In giving, we become emperor. We become godlike. We really become the true child of God. I'm reminded a story that comes to my mind of Vivekananda, one of the really great teacher who came from India to United States in the early 20th century, like 1905 I'm talking, something like that. And the first person who brought the Indian esoteric teaching to United States. And this is real story of his life. He grew up in a rich family. His father was from a very affluent family, and he had a good job. And one day accident happened and his father died. And then they found out that he had a lot of debts. And all these debts, in order to pay these debts, they had to release everything what they had. At the end, they had only this much money to survive, that they can have only one meal for one person a day. Not even two meals. And so only two people were there, Vivekananda and his mother. And they can only have one meal. So either mother is going to be hungry or Vivekananda is going to be hungry. And Vivekananda does not want his mother to be hungry. So he would say that his friends have invited him every night. And he will go, and of course there are no friends and no invitation. He will go and wander into different streets and come back and tell his mother that I had this food and that food, and so that mother can have that only meal. And this goes on on, and he would not have food for days. 4 days, 5 days will be gone without food. When Ramakrishna, his teacher, came to know that this is what he is doing, then he said, why don't you ask God? Ask God to give you food. And he took him into the temple and kind of like said, go and ask. And he left him in front of the statue of God. And when he came out, half an hour was gone by. When he came out, Ramakrishna asked him, did you ask God? And this is very important part. The answer Vivekananda gave to Ramakrishna is a very profound answer, and we must remember in our life. He said, I forgot what was I supposed to ask. I forgot what was I supposed to ask. Think about that. If you truly are on God's path, and if you truly envelop with God, are you going to think about your problems? Are you going to ask that this should be in my life? You are going to say that, God, you are wrong, I am right, because I know what should happen in my life. And how can you remember about your problems when God is in your life? If you are remembering your problems, that means God is not in your life. You cannot ask that this should happen in my life. If you are on this path, God knows what should happen in your life. Do you think God does not know? The power of the universe does not know? Our tiny little brain knows what should happen in our life? Then we are at fault. We are a wrong person. And wrong person cannot have a right demand. A wrong person can only have a wrong demand. When we are on this kind of a path, there is a total acceptability. A total acceptability of whatever comes to my life. There is no complaint. There is no sadness. We learn the art to give this joy, the joy of this God that has enveloped in my life. People are so miser that they want to hold on. They don't want to give. And they say they have nothing to give. How erroneous is this thought process? When we are in this journey and when we are enveloped in this light, we have so much to give. We can talk kindness. We can be cheerful. We can be happy. We can give hugs to people. We can be generous in many different ways. But have you seen beggar's face? There is no shine. There is no exuberance. There is no vitality, as if somebody has sucked the blood out of them. And these beggars are these miser people that they just want to hold on to their wealth, to whatever wealth they have. And they think that by holding the wealth, they become happy. But because they become addicted to hold on, so they forget to give it to themselves. And these people, they never enjoy life in whatsoever manner. And they go empty-handed. They come empty-handed, they go empty-handed. There is no awareness is gained. We come like animal and we have an opportunity to die godlike, but we die like animal. And this goes on and on and on. When is this cycle going to change? When are we going? Jesus said, those who have, more will be given, and those who do not have, more will be taken away from them. What does it mean? I wonder how regular Christians interpret this kind of a statement. To me, this is a very mystical idea. This is very profound idea. That if you have awareness, you're increasing in your awareness, the more understanding will be given to you, the more understanding of life, more wisdom will be given to you. And the less you have, less awareness, more will be taken away from you. You will be having no understanding, no wisdom. So this is very significant for us to understand that when we ask, what are we asking? What are we begging for? What are we begging for? That means we are denying what is given to us. We want something different to happen. Recently, I have been going through bursitis in my hip, and I love to walk. And I have been told that I should not walk, otherwise the inflammation will get worse. And there is a lot of inflammation already. So then I'm not walking. And I start pondering about it. Does it bother me? Am I upset about this situation? And the answer that comes to my mind all the time, that did I hope for something else? Did I not expect that things will go wrong in my body? If I do not expect, then obviously I'm going to be sad and upset about it. Because if you expect these things to happen, then the acceptability will be easy. And it's all about the acceptability. Acceptability shows that we are connected with God. No shows ego. No shows arrogancy. Yes shows humility, humbleness. If God is teaching any lesson in this world, there is only one lesson of humbleness. Whenever someone becomes cocky, whenever someone becomes egotistical, the universe has a message for that consciousness. Sometimes we do not learn from the message that is given to us. So do we have an expectation? If I am dreaming and I wake up from a dream and then I start crying what I have lost in the dream, who am I? I'm a lunatic, because I must be aware that it was just a dream, because it has a temporal period. This cup is here in front of me, and 2 hours later this cup would not be here. This 2 hours, is that significant? Should I not realize that it is going to go away from me? So why am I going to put my energy to hold on to this cup when I can put my energy to something that will never be taken away from me? That is real and significant and vitalize every pore of my being and makes us the real child of God. We are so conditioned to see the life that there is no freshness left in our experience. And God lives in that freshness. God is freshness. There is no stale aspect of God. Stale is devil. Think about that. A water that is not flowing and has become a stagnant water, is it good for itself? Is it good for others? Only the flow is really important. And flow is this idea of receiving and giving. God is giving us all the time. We are receiving it, and we must give it by the other hand. We are just this vehicle. It comes from the one end and it goes to the other end. It is like a ventilation in our room. If I have one door open and the other door is closed, the room would not get any air. In order for a room to get the air, two doors should be open. Cross ventilation is necessary for the room to be airy. Are you following here? Mm-hmm. So we want to just receive and not give, and we give whatever and from whom we can get benefit. We only give to the people from whom we can have the bank of expectation, or the people who would like us. That is not giving. Giving is true. It is a cyclical. It is unconditional. Have you ever imagined that when the rays of the sun comes from this window, and I say, oh wow, the ray of the sun has come, and now I'm going to close this window so it should not go to the neighbor's house. What will happen to that ray? It will die. It must maintain a continuous flow of coming. The door and the window must be open for that ray to come continuously. So this cycling must be a continuous flow, like a river flow. This is the freshness I'm talking about. But we are so conditioned that we want to say everything that we like. When we say something beautiful, how am I going to say something is beautiful? Have you ever seen a child looking at a flower first time? Have you ever seen it? The child will never say that it is a beautiful flower, because child is fresh. Child is fresh. This is why Jesus said that only children will enter into the kingdom of God. Child does not know. He is in awe. Oh, what is this thing? But we know it is a rose flower. How do you know it is a rose flower? Conditioning. How do you know it is beautiful? Conditioning and comparison. Comparison. You lost the freshness, the uniqueness of that flower. Remember, no event, no flower, nothing in this existence is a repetition. Each flower has never ever going to be copied, and it does not exist anywhere else. Similarly, each moment will never ever going to come back. No experience is ever going to be exactly the same like. But we want to resolve our problem just like we resolved our problem in the past. But problem is new, and problem is continuously changing. And problem is also God. Because if you look at from the fresh perspective, that is where the awness comes. You're in awe not only about the things, but about your experiences, whether pleasant or unpleasant, you do not know. Look at yourself like you're looking at first time. Look at the sky as if you're looking at first time. You will find God in that experience. You look at the filth of the cities, as Mahatma says, as if you're looking at it first time. you will find God even in there. You look at your problems as if you're looking at first time, and you'll find God in there. God is not far from us. God is here now in this freshness. This is why the mystics always said that this mystical experience is like the experience of Christ consciousness of Tiferet is like bridegroom chamber. Bridegroom chamber. Why would they use this kind of a word? Because if you go to the East, you will find that the women do not know their husbands, and husbands do not know their wives before the marriage, and the first interaction that happens is happen in that chamber, in that bridegroom chamber. First interaction between these two persons. And what a freshness! Your heart throbs, the whole body pulsates. There is, if you can imagine in this union, what an energy takes place. After that, it becomes a stale. The relationship becomes boring. But this first, so they have to describe something as like the fresh. If God is something, God is fresh. Are you following here? So when we are asking, we are breaking that connection with God. Because every time we are going to ask about our little problems of our lives, God knows already. But when we ask, we will always be in fear. There will be never a time that you are asking and you are not in fear. Why do you have fear when you are asking? Because you always feel fear it may not happen. And fear and God does not interact. Just like darkness and light does not interact, the fear and God does not interact. This must be very clear. This must be very clear in our mind. So learn the art of giving, and learn to give that is coming to us all the time. And you really don't have to question, what can I give? Because in every moment there is a lot to give. Every moment there is a lot to give. And when you have this kind of giving, then you find the bliss increases within you. And the creativity is amazing. Your mind is completely in that moment.